Welcome into another edition of the Gator Nation Football Podcast Film Review. I'm your host, James DiVirgilio, and on this episode, we'll be taking a look at Florida's offense versus Kentucky's defense. Florida, of course, took a big L in this game. Florida's offense was more or less what I expected, what the film would have said they would have been. They finished with 244 yards passing, just 69 yards rushing, which those of you that follow Florida know that is not a recipe for Billy Napier's scheme to be successful. Florida 4 for 13 on third down and 1 for 3. So that continues a rather disturbing trend of Florida being quite terrible on third downs. That obviously is not a recipe for winning football games. So, as always, if you like this content, sub to this channel, follow us on social media, drop us a dono where you can support our efforts on Patreon to bring you more content like this throughout the season. Check out our merch. And lastly, check out our podcast, where each and every Monday we bring you in-depth analysis of the Florida Gators, win or lose. Let's jump into the first play here and see what Florida's plan versus Kentucky was going to be. Now, obviously, Kentucky had a very good day at the office versus Florida last year in the Swamp, where AR seemed to have lost his confidence during that football game. What was Mark Stoops going to cook up here? If you listen to the podcast, you got a full dose of what we thought Mark Stoops would do based upon what Mark Stoops typically does, which is keep everything in front of him, stop the run, use conflict defenders like you see here, splitting the distance between Florida's most edge offensive line player or tight end and receiver, which he loves to do, generally with everyone's eyes looking into the backfield, which you can see here. So 11 players become run defenders versus a team like Florida. Works very well, especially if you don't fear Florida's passing attack. So right out of the gate, Florida going to open up. Straightforward run. How many guys are in the box? Always good to count. Counting at home, 8 guys are in the box for Kentucky, and they are playing run, covering the jet sweep. So effectively 7 are going to wind up being here with the 8th covering Ricky. They're ready for run. Florida gives them run, and Florida gets nothing. 2nd down and 9, and despite the fact that stats and film, I think, would clearly say that Trevor Etienne's a better running back, we have Montrell starting the game. Again, to me, Trevor should be getting the majority of the carries, but I digress for now. All right, pre-snap look. Florida's an empty set. I love empty sets. You all know that. If I'm a quarterback, I especially love the fact that I have 2 defenders that are inside my 3 receivers. I like that look. In fact, I think I'm going over here first. What's going to happen instead is we're working 2x2 here with the safety here, and Mertz is going to look here to this little hitch route. Again, hitch route's always a theme. Unfortunately for him, he's going to get pressure from the right side, something we saw Stoops do last year versus AR. Stoops knows Florida likes to roll out to the right a lot. It's a good hedge against that, and also that Mertz is best rolling out to the right, so let's try to keep the right side clean. However, had Mertz looked here and he had a hot route on it all, which we don't, notice how Ricky's head is not turned. Again, if you give a check here at the line to tell Ricky, hey, look, if they're coming, keep your head up and hit you quick, he could easily open up and check that, and if they don't come, he can still hit this hitch. Now, we have not seen Florida display anything like that on film this year or last year, so we don't expect that. I'm just showing you what's possible. We're going for this hitch right here. This hitch is, in fact, here. He chooses not to throw it for reasons I cannot tell you why. Then opens up here, pressure coming behind him, and this is going to wind up being a big loss on 2nd down. That's a miss for Mertz. In general, forget about the pre-snap read, forget about going to the right side for an optimal play, forget about a hot read. Just in general, the hitch was there. Chooses not to take it. Florida goes backwards and has 3rd down. There is the aforementioned 3rd down conversion for Florida. Not good. 116th in the country on 3rd down conversion does not mean you're going to be a top 25 team in the country, which Florida is no longer. Motioning Ricky on the jet sweep, which of course we love to do all the time. And then here's your handoff on 3rd and 15, because obviously we're not going to try to throw it for 15 yards. And Florida gets what they want here. And then unfortunately, Khalil Jackson, I think, is going to get called for a rather unfortunate holding. Right here, as we're turning the shoulders right here and we run past him, perhaps, maybe, if you didn't see that, you call that holding. To me, I don't think that's holding. That's just domination, right? We're clean here. We're certainly clean here. And as he comes around the backside, he could just let him go right now. And he probably should let him go right now, but he's not making that play. So really unfortunate that that call goes against Florida. What's extra unfortunate is you pay attention down here to the official, which you can't see, but on the All-22 you can see better. right here with the official. His hand is not on his flag right now. And in fact, it's going to go off your screen. But right here, you're going to see him point and call holding. Now, his hand is not on his flag. You're going to lose it on your screen. It's not on his flag. He runs to about here, and then he reaches for the flag and throws it. So is it influenced by the Kentucky sideline here, calling for holding? I'm going to say I think so. I think Kentucky called this play from the sideline. They got one back for Florida with a late holding call that I think probably wasn't a holding. Let's call it ticky-tacky at best. But again, that's not why Florida lost this football game. Calls definitely went against Florida in this game, in my opinion, in several ways. But we don't talk a lot about penalties in the film review because they occur. Sometimes they're for you, sometimes they're against you. They definitely impact the game. But in general here, Florida misses a chance for a conversion on a 3rd and 15 on a run play that would have been nice for Florida to have stolen early. But as this day was going to be for the Gators, things were generally not going to work out for them. It sets up a 3rd and even longer. Florida has largely not been as successful as they need to be on first down passing this year, especially when they go play action pass. They failed to establish the run on the first drive, but here we're going to go play action and get everything we want. Linebackers are sucked up. Great protection by the offensive line. Nice clean outside release by Caleb Douglas on the vertical, and then an underneath drag route here. So these concepts are good and fine. And finally, for the first time in a long, long time, you get what you want. I'm going to pause it right here. You have Douglas essentially running what looks to be, based upon his early run, let's call it like a very skinny post route, or really just more of like an inside go route. And what happens here is the corner turns underneath this and basically is in trouble and is losing all contact with anything to the outside of Douglas. So this is in fact the exact, notice this, right? Notice right here, let me stop it right here, get that on the screen. Look at where the corner is looking. He has absolutely no idea the ball is even in the air. He is completely beat. This is a touchdown. All Mertz has to do is throw the ball to this shoulder, which is what he's trying to do, right? You see that the defender's inside. You have no safety help. Just float a ball over to this shoulder your receiver can get to. It's exactly what he tries to do. Now, again, the corner is just watching a touchdown early on. He's like, I'm burnt at 7-3, except Mertz misses by a significant margin, right? He's going to want that one back. Clean pocket, wide open receiver. You know he's inside. Just put the ball outside here, right on the numbers, float it up here, and if he does, we're walking in the end zone for a very easy touchdown. Instead, Florida misses an opportunity. We've said it all year long. Florida has got to find a way to be productive with the vertical passing game, and you certainly cannot afford to miss shots like this one when your offense has such a low margin for scoring points, as we've seen in the SEC from this team. A big miss there from Mertz. 3rd and 5, Florida goes empty again, which I like. There's a lot of grass, especially right here. Take a look at the grass that you see pre-snap. This is why football is great, right? It's pre-snap, looks like a lot of grass. This is why defenders, or rather defensive coordinators, like to run simulated pressures. As a quarterback, you're muddying the picture here. I really have no idea who's dropping back to cover this and who's not. So imagine you have a hitch route here, because of course, imagine there's a hitch route. It's Billy's offense. There's lots of hitch routes. If you're post-snap, you don't know if he's going back, if anyone's going back, if they're pressuring you. It slows down your thinking, which again is why coordinators like this. So what happens on this play is, in fact, we do run a bunch of hitches. This is going to be a hitch here. There's a hitch there. Here comes a hitch here. Here comes a hitch over here, and a hitch over here. Everyone's hitching. Now, ideally, if you're looking on your screen, the hitch you would have wanted to hit right away would have had to have been a very quick one. Would have been Ricky right here. He's certainly open. But this is the problem, again, with Florida's route combinations, in my opinion, like we've seen before, is this ideally should get more in the way here of him who is buzzing into the flat. That's what he's doing, right? He's able to cover both of these guys, essentially, as he buzzes over to the flat. That's unfortunate because that throw becomes harder. But regardless, we're not even going there. Why am I looking there? Because this play is going to be a pick. This is a well-thrown ball on time. A little high here for your tight end, Arliss. A little high, but right in the hands, just above his head. He knows he's going to get hit here, but he's got to come down with this. And unfortunately for him, I think he feels the weight of Kentucky's defenders closing in on him. This is going to be a tight route. You got to catch this ball. You got to come down with this. He does not. And of course, as luck would have it for Florida, that's going to be a pick six. And he also takes a huge hit right here. Again, one of the problems with running hitches If you complete them, great, but they offer no yards after catch, and they also allow defenders to be moving at you while you're standing still, delivering significant hits. And there you go. Kentucky's off and running. They would cash in for a touchdown on this and immediately go up 10-0. First and 10, Kentucky loading the box here, as they have been. We've got 7 in the box. We know they're keeping their eyes in the backfield. Billy wise to want to run play action. They bring another guy down low here, right? This is nice. I like this call here. Look at what Kentucky has in the box. We're playing just 3 on the back end. They're going to probably play zone back there. Let's go ahead and beat them with the play action. Let's give them not just 1 play action, but 2 play actions. Pull all the linebackers up and allow a very easy win to occur here with Khalil Jackson coming across. Your clear out route there. Take the corner with you. This guy's never going to catch that play. Easy completion, easy money, good play timing, good play design on first and 10. All of this is going to work very well given the numbers they put in the box. All you have to do is complete it. And Mertz, unfortunately, does not. Again, this is a wide open pass. If you stick this pass, Jackson turns the corner, is probably ending up, if he beats this guy, he's ending up a long way down the field, but he's at least going to cross the 50. Another opportunity for Florida goes by the wayside. Florida already 0 for 3 now on 3rd down in this game. And if you had on your bingo card, this is going to be all hitches, you would again be correct. This hitch is, however, going to be wide open, as Kentucky's going to bring pressure here. Richie Leonard is going to miss this block right at the point of attack. Right up front right here, we're one-on-one. We have to make this block. We don't make it. Immediate pressure right here through the A-gap on Mertz. Mertz is not actually looking at this hitch, though. He is looking over here, but regardless, if you get protection, he should check here and then perhaps come right down there. Instead, we now have to escape the pressure in our face, take off, and thankfully, he's still open. He's still open. He was so open, he works to stay open, presents a nice big target, puts the hands out right there, makes the catch, and converts a first down. So Florida down 10-0, but converting a crucial 3rd down there with a hitch. Florida catching Kentucky off guard here on this 3rd and 1, which is nice to see. Very light box, just 5 guys here, 2 coming late. You can see they're still communicating. Florida goes tempo on them and steals an easy first down with the inside zone run right there. So nice execution. Florida moving the football. Perhaps it's going to be a game after all. First and 10's been a good passing down for Florida. At least we've had opportunities. Let's see if we can keep that rolling. Play action. This time Kentucky's ready for it, right? They've seen that Florida's been beating them on this, so they're expecting this more. And the big problem here occurs with big 0, number 0 for Kentucky. Again, that guy popped on film. If we were doing a film review for Kentucky's defense, he'd be getting a lot of mentions. He's going to blow Kingsley up right here. Bye-bye, Kingsley. Have a nice time. I'm past you. And now I'm here. Now, the reality is this block coming across here from Arliss is actually good enough. He's going to kick him out of here. If we're sealed up here, like everyone else is, he's going way past Mertz, who's climbing the pocket. Now, though, 0 is going to make a play, and we're going down. What's more troubling, though, and something we've talked about on Film Review all year long, is anyone actually open? If we do block this up, is anyone open? And the answer, of course, is no. You have a vertical route here. You have Douglas coming over here. He's covered up in double. He's locked down there in single, and they're running again into the same area of the field, even at the same depth and level right now, and that is triangled off with an underneath defender there. Nowhere to go even if he could step up. Now, what you're hoping for there is you're going to clear this out and get to throw the ball to Douglas all the way over here. And if you block that up, do you have a shot at that? Yeah, probably. But again, you'd like to see receivers be much more open than this. This is what Florida settles for essentially being open, a safety on top, a guy in direct trail. Again, that's not going to be an easy throw even if it does come open. But ultimately, nothing good is going to happen when you cannot protect, even right off the bat. 2nd and 18, what play do you dial up here? Of course, a jet sweep from Ricky. That seems like a good start. Fake that, fake the handoff. 2 fakes to generate, what are we generating here? Oh yeah, 2 hitches, of course. Hitch right there, hitch right here. This hitch is double covered. This hitch has an underneath defender with a safety. He's a safety right behind him here as well. And then obviously blanket coverage there, right? He's running the hitch almost for him. Underneath defender right there who almost takes care of that by himself. Defender stepping forward to pick that off. Safety back here, double covered here. 2 hitches, check down, check down. That's your 2nd and 18 play. That one does not work. 3rd and 18 here, Florida. What are they going to dial up? Of course, you're going to have a jet sweep from Ricky because why not? But they're going to dial up actually something I like. I would change how this is done. I think in general, you can run it this way, but they're going to run a 4 verticals here. 4 verticals here. This is Andy Jean, and Ricky's going to be here. Now, the reason I don't love this is when you motion across, I'd rather just have you reset Ricky. Nobody ran with him. You know they're in zone. Just put him here because instead, now you've got Ricky way behind the play. In my opinion, that does not accomplish anything for you, especially on 3rd down and 18. I'd rather have Ricky up here, putting pressure on the back end of their defense, and the same thing here. But I digress. 4 verticals is still a good concept because if you catch them in something like cover 3, you actually have a shot to complete this and pick up a big gain. Now, what's going to happen here? I'm going to roll the tape. We're going to go through this. It winds up obviously just running out. Does he have anything here? Let's roll the tape. All right, first and foremost, you're playing quarterback, right? Get in the quarterback's mind. Pre-snap, what do you have? What do you have right now? Ignore the writing on the screen. What do you have right now? It's hard to know. It's 3rd and 18. If I'm a quarterback right here and I see this, I probably think I have cover 4. And I probably think my 4 verticals are not going to work, most likely. And I'm probably taking a check down, and I'm going to just move the ball down here and see what happens, right? That's most likely my pre-snap read. We got to confirm with a post-snap read. Upon post-snap right away, and we heavily ID'd this with Trask, right? You want to open up and you want to read a safety. So he needs to read either him or him if he thinks it's cover 4. Either one of them is fine. You got to read them, which is what he's going to do right here, and see, did he stay flat? If he did, it's definitely not cover 4 anymore. And in fact, you can see that this safety is bailing, and now we're getting a cover 3 look. The safety is shaded to this side, which is Andy Jean's side, running the go route over here. Khalil Jackson is going to get bracketed right here with the safety who comes down. So he's bracketed. Mertz is now looking at him. And here our 4 verticals concept is at work. Now, why do I like this better? If we can put more pressure on them more quickly, you're going to see why in a second. Notice how he is coming all the way over here trying to get to Ricky. Well, if Ricky just sets and resets, now you're going to put more pressure on the cover 3 dropper. And you may get more space for this throw here. But ultimately, Mertz reads this out correctly. The safety now starts to move over as he's doing his job reading Mertz's eyes. Mertz decides no go. Let me check the seam. Exactly what you want to do. Check your backside seam. Once he starts moving this way, you have this throw. And in fact, there is space to make this throw. I would like to think if we don't get Barber pushed all the way back here, Mertz lets this ball go. At least he definitely should. There's a window for this. That's the throw you want to make. Instead, he elects not to make that throw, and then he rolls out here. And now, effectively, your 4 vertical play is dead. But one more point of emphasis, if we can imagine Ricky is further up here, right, we're putting more pressure on this cover 3 corner. And again, this is all post-snap information that we have. There was a throw available. We don't take the throw. Now there's nothing here, and this 3rd and 18 does not convert. Now look, you're not going to convert 3rd down and 18 very often. I like seeing 4 verticals there. I would love to see 4 verticals on 1st and 10, 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, things of that nature where I think Florida could have a lot of success on big vertical plays down the field. Regardless, does not get executed here, and Florida is off the field. 1st and 10 now for Florida. You can see Ray Davis's sweet stat line already right there. A curious thing about Florida running the jet sweep all the time is, with Ricky, they don't hand it off very often, and so how real is the threat? They're really doing it just hoping to move somebody out of the box to widen out here, here, here. But pre-snap, Florida actually is okay. 6-man box with a 7th lurking, right? A 7th lurking, honoring the tight end in case he goes out. When you bring Ricky on a jet sweep, you then actually essentially put 8 guys fundamentally in the box, right? He now becomes an edge defender. He becomes a flex edge defender. You've got 7 guys in the box. You're running into a heavily loaded box here on 1st down and 10. And where exactly is ETN going to go? Nowhere is the answer. And so again, Ricky actually, you can see, hits his man that winds up making the tackle. What does that jet sweep accomplish there? My opinion, a whole lot of nothing. There's reasons why you use a jet sweep. There are ways to accomplish things with a jet sweep. But so often it seems like Florida runs that jet sweep. They're going to just, hey, you got to honor it sometime, you got to honor it sometime, you got to honor it sometime. But when you put this stuff on film continually, I don't think teams are really afraid of you handing that ball off to Ricky. Then all you're really doing is taking your best receiver and putting him 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, where ultimately your running back stuffed up on the inside versus heavy box when you should be passing the ball instead of running the ball, and you get that. All right, 1st and 10, we've seen that Florida has had some potential success passing the ball on 1st down, also taking a sack. But to be successful, Florida needs to be able to pass when you do not have numbers in the box. So pre-snap right now we have 7 plus a potential 8th guy. Again, here comes the motion from Ricky. What does that do? That just definitely brings the 8th guy in the box. Here's your conflict defender, which Kentucky uses very well. Stand on the edge, read the play both of them, keep your eyes in the backfield, and then here we go. Notice he's not really caring about Ricky. He's just staying home. He's not even moving yet. Oh, it's a handoff. Great. I'm going to come fill. And the inside run is dead anyway. Again, so Florida running against the numbers here. 8-man box. They're running right into it. It is not working. 3rd and 4 here. This play might be what Billy calls a 2-downer. Something that, to most of your non-surprise, I loathe. It might not be a 2-downer, but how 3rd and 4 or 5 is really almost ever a 2-downer where you're playing for 4th down, to me, is an incredibly conservative mindset when you could just imagine 3rd and 4 and 4th and 4 as plays where you take the expected value of your passing play and just do it twice. But I digress again. In this case, we're going to get the jet sweep from Ricky, except this time not a jet sweep. We're just going to motion him over here again. And what happens with Kentucky's defense? Let's see. Motion him over. Okay, great. Switch, no problem. I'm going to sit up here high. You come down over here. Numbers in the box for Florida. Kentucky again with 7. 7 in the box. They're loaded up, ready for a run play. And then Florida's going to blow whatever the run ID is here. They're going to blow this because we're going to come out here and try to block essentially the backside linebacker, despite the fact that Florida is running this play to the weak side. That's where this play is going, and we are going to leave the play side linebacker completely unblocked, and that is not a recipe for success on 3rd down and 4. That ain't going to work, and it doesn't work. 4th down, Florida down, things are ugly. All right, 1st and 10 for Florida. Obviously, in the previous plays on 3rd down, I'll mention this later, but to go back to it, Florida with facing 7 or 8 guys in the box in that scenario. They had a single high safety. You can go back and look at that play. Florida was 3-by-3 on the right side. So basically man coverage, right side, half the field to work with, 3rd and 4. It's those kind of looks that are really hard to justify, that being what you would consider to be a positive EV or positive expected value offense. There's a lot of opportunity if you're going to get those kind of looks. Single high safety, sitting over the box, basically playing the run, daring you to pass on 3rd down and 4, and you still don't really do it. And you put that on film every single week. It's tough to justify that stuff. It's what we've been following on film review week in and week out. And that is why, of course, we raise the questions of, is this optimal? And in our opinion, the answer is no, it's not. It's hard to find that being optimal with regards to modern football. Here on 1st and 10, Florida's going to try yet again to pass. Here's a play action pass. And we are going to send out Ricky this way and then here this way. These are not going to be covered. Both of them will be double despite the fact that we have time, which leads to the inevitable check down. Now, Mertz should let this play out longer, right? The longer he lets this play out, the better his check down will be. It's something we saw Kyle Trask do very well on the few occasions he had more time. This is way too early for the check down, as you now allow this defender to be right here. If you wait longer and let that play develop more, you might get Montrell far further up the field. Either way, in that case, let that play out, right? You finally have the time you need. Do not throw that ball so quickly on that check down. But the reason he did it is nobody's open. There was no chance of anything coming open. Not great. Again, another 1st down passing opportunity where really a whole lot of nothing happens. Not a recipe for success when teams are loading up to stop your run. The beauty of TV. Here on the film review, if you've been a longtime follower, you know that I use the All-22 or the coach's film to see what the routes look like. This is what we saw on television. I'll just play it for you. Okay, look to the left. Okay, check down there. Odom gets leveled. Florida's Travis Kelce, if you will. That's tongue-in-cheek, gets leveled. And then there he is. I need a sub. I just got killed, coach. Thank you very much. Okay, replay. Let's see what happened here. Looks left, throws right. Oh, smoked. Okay, cool. That must be it. What you don't see is Florida actually has a massive play and potentially a touchdown here to Douglas. Now, you don't see this because you can't see it. But what actually happens here is he is going to run an out and up, and he is going to be left completely alone. This is a very good play design for this particular play, and one that, of course, Graham Mertz is going to want back. Now, why is this a good play design? Well, because we face essentially cover 3 defense that gets blown because the dropping corner, which you can't see, is going to run with the in-breaking route from Khalil Jackson. Now, this is a good play design because this route occurs far down the field. That's the kind of 2-on-1 pressure you want to put on defenses in the back end of his zone. Make them make a wrong decision. He sees, what he thinks he sees as he's dropping back, is he thinks he sees an out route, which he's going to leave here to this defender who's flat. He is pushing this route back to his cover 3 dropper, thinking he's going to release that and take it to him. Well, he makes a wrong decision, and he leaves this wide open. Mertz is looking to the left. Let's pick the play. Why? I can't actually tell you, because Ricky, right off the start, is running this route here, and that is never there. Immediately, you can see he goes back. Right now, he should know that is not happening. There are 2 guys there. Immediately work this side of the field. Right now, stop looking at it. Don't look at that anymore, Mertz. Get off that play. It's dead. Get your head around here. Instead, he decides it's Ricky or bust. It's not Ricky. Check down. That's a shame, because he has a really good route combination here on the right side. This is a good play design by Billy. This is not on Billy. This is all on Mertz. Again, you've got a trip set here. You've got a good look here. You have a promising pre-snap look. All of this looks good. Instead, he decides, Ricky's my guy. I'm riding with him, and then I'm dying without him. Boom. You get your guy leveled, right? That play could have been 6. Should have been 6. It's a wide open Douglas for a touchdown. It's the second time we've seen that for Douglas now. It could be a very different season for him. Of course, now he's out injured, as we're going to find out later. But this is all on Mertz. It's on quarterbacking here. He's played fine for Florida this season, of course. He is indeed a capable pilot. Film review is to nitpick the things we miss, but this is a route where, again, TV is sort of criminal. You would have no idea this route combination is a very good one. Should have been a home run right here. Florida misses and gets almost nothing out of it. 3rd and 12 now, and if we can't hit something downfield, we should try to hit some hitches. Again, let's take our best receiver and make him a wasted check down on the orbit motion. Nobody motions with him. We know they're in zone. Let's just waste him sitting over here as a check down on 3rd and 12. We're cool with that, because we got 3 hitches coming, and we know that is going to work, and it does work. Mertz throws a really good ball here. Tight window. Great, dependable hands by Khalil Jackson. The guy pretty much never drops a pass. Takes the hit, surrounded by Kentucky players, and we inch our way across this first down on 3rd and 12, down 23-0. Very next play, this is probably Mertz's best throw of the entire season, which is not going to go for anything. Absolute dime right here by Mertz. I mean, this is a sensational ball. Good coverage, great coverage, right? I mean, he's right there. He almost tips it. Ricky has a clean catch. Unfortunately, the pressure of the ground forces it out. That happens sometimes. No matter how good your hands are, it's going to happen to you. It happens to him here, which is a bummer. He can't believe it. But either way, this is a sensational dime. Again, not a lot of separation there. Great dime. All for naught, because at the end of this play, not right now, at the very end of this play, Kingsley's going back and forth with their D-tackle. He knocks his helmet off, and they call a rather late penalty. So for Ricky's case, it wouldn't have counted anyway, but Florida gets another, I think, ticky-tack, perhaps questionable penalty called on them there, and Florida will be moved back. 23-0, Florida desperately needs to find a way to score. Kentucky says, no problem. We know exactly what we're going to do, because we know you love to run your passing plays to the right, and we know you need to pass. So we're just going to bring a guy right here, far off the edge, into your throwing window. Mertz isn't even looking, and we're going to drill you, except we're going to make a mistake here and not make this play. Here it is. Miss. Now, why are his hands even up? Good question here, 54. If I'm watching film review with you, I'm asking you. The quarterback is looking this way. You have a free blindside shot at him. Why are you putting your hands up? Just aim right here and take the man out, right? What are you doing? I have no idea. Hands are up. That slows him down, changes his center of gravity, causes him to then blow by this play, miss what should have been an easy sack, and instead of 1st and 10, it should be 2nd and 17. Mertz instead gets away, does what he does best when he throws to the right, which is throw a good pass right here. Good pass on time to Ricky. And Florida takes a play that's going to be a -7 and turns it into a first down. The Gators going to catch Kentucky off balance here. A 6-man box. They're coming in late trying to get the numbers right, but they are confused. They're not ready for this snap, and Etienne's going to get the ball, and Florida gets to go to work versus a favorable box. And we're off and running. Now, one thing that would make, I think, Billy's offense dangerous is if he had a passing game component to it and he could actually ever face 6-man boxes. He could really put teams in a bind with his running schemes, which largely are very good. But because Florida can't pass and teams do not respect their passing, they face loaded boxes all the time. It's very hard to run the ball. And then when Florida does pass, the plays are generally very predictable, which you see on film remains consistent. And teams have a good feel for when they're going to call what they're going to call and how they're going to call it. and that has caused Florida to struggle in the passing game really all throughout Billy's tenure, whether it's AR or now Mertz. Even though Mertz has a very high completion rate, most of those passes are safe plays, dink and dunk plays, hitches plays, not plays that are offering a lot of yak or threatening a defensive coordinator. 2nd and 5. We have been begging for Florida to take advantage of Douglas's matchups when he gets one-on-one with man. And the funny thing is, this pre-snap look is actually not nearly as good as ones that we have seen on film all the time previous to this game, and even, in fact, occasionally in this game. Now, Stoops does not prefer to play a lot of man. They play a ton of zone. But regardless, this is not necessarily pre-snap a home run look to run a go route on. It's a good look. You can open up and see if the safety stays at all inside, throw it to the outside. But we've seen much better looks, and Florida's opted not to take it. And now on 2nd and 5, we're going to take it. We're going to open up. Back foot hits the ground. We're out of the release. Look and throw. Now, this is kind of a shot play where you can tell Mertz is just throwing it because he's trying to move the safety to the left here and then open up and immediately throw. And right now on your screen, if you're even, you're leaving. That's Douglas, right? He's just putting this ball up. And the safety, this has got to be a really good ball because, again, the safety sat on this hash. He does not have the luxury of floating this ball up high. He's got to throw a rope up here. It's a little bit behind, but that's okay given the coverage. Douglas, right? Douglas right here. Douglas has a knack for high pointing the football, which is one reason why Florida should definitely have done this more often this season. And also, that's going to cause defenses to play differently on the back end. However, right here, great catch by Douglas. He gets rolled up on. That's going to be a lower leg injury. We don't know how long he's out for. But great catch, great play. Florida down on the 1-yard line on a simple fade route or go route to the outside. Really nice play there by Douglas. And good call by Florida on 2nd down and 5 to take a shot rather than just attempt to pick up a first down with a short play or a hitch or a run or something like that. Take your shots. When you get 2nd and short, you really ought to consider taking a shot almost every time. The math would suggest that, unless the numbers tell you otherwise. If teams are loaded up to play your pass, run the ball. If they're loaded up to stop your run, pass the ball, right? Let's make it simple. Follow the rules of the numbers, and largely you will have more success on an expected value basis than if you keep going against the numbers. Very next play, 1st and goal. Of course, we're going to fake this jet sweep. Look, again, questions about this. If you want to run this, you need to actually fake the jet sweep, or you need to use Ricky as a blocker. I mean, this is, to me, this is a waste, right? Your timing is off. You got a guy running a jet sweep who's not doing anything. Nobody, right? You're making him follow him across the field, but you're not giving it to him. We've never faked this and then thrown a quick screen here, which, by the way, is a great idea. That's one-on-one in the end zone. We've never done that. So you're just allowing a team to say, okay, great, we're going to sell out for run anyway. We're going to man Ricky. We know you're not really going to do much with him. You're not even going to fake this ball to him. You're just going to hand it off and unfortunately get sniped. And we're going to blow this up. You can see Kentucky's owned that play anyway. And now it's 2nd and goal. We've just seen that Kentucky obviously does not respect Florida's passing game. We've seen that all game long. Let's try to do something to take advantage of it. How about this? I like it. A quick play action, slip out Hayden Hansen, your tight end. Get the ball to him. Nice ball. Dime right here to the edge. Touchdown Florida. Much needed. Good play design. Good play call there. Taking advantage again of the numbers. It's always interesting to see how teams play Florida. We talk about this on film. Although Ricky wears the number 1 jersey, he largely gets the double teams. In fact, on this down, you're going to see the safety is slid way over here. They're going to really wind up playing a 2-by-1 on this side, and they're going to play a cover 3 tech on this side. He's going to drop back and just basically play, again, here. You can call this a cover 6 if you want, because you're really kind of splitting the field with 2 guys here, 1 guy with half. At any rate, what matters for us as viewers is that they're definitely giving more attention here to Andy Jean than they are Ricky. So, Florida, we've seen hit a big shot earlier. They get the same look here. Notice how on the snap he actually opens up to the inside on 1st and 10. Florida could just take another shot right here with Andy Jean if they want. And none of these routes are going to be open here. You're going to get all in-breaking routes. These are not open. And Andy Jean's not open early on either. Mertz opens up, sees a safety. We get pushes. We've seen George do his best here at right tackle. He's doing a fine job. He's really a guard playing tackle. But, he's done a nice enough job of routing these guys far enough around on the speed rush that the quarterback can step up. It does move him off the spot, which is not ideal. But he's done a nice enough job working with what his skill set is to let us make a play. Now, right now, if Mertz had looked up and checked Andy Jean, checked the bomb, instead of checking back across the field, still over here, if he opens up his eyes to the deep shot here, the safety, they play that technique, right, where the corner bailed on cover 3. You had a safety sitting up high as well. The safety stays flat-footed. Andy Jeans run by him, and he is open. He puts his arm up, got the whole field here for a bomb. Now you're running downhill. It's ideal if you're Mertz, you're coming downhill towards the line of scrimmage to let this ball fly. Unfortunately, he never keeps his eyes up to look for it. He does take a gain, but that could have also been a touchdown. Now look, if it's sounding nitpicky, again, if you're a veteran of the film review, our goal is to look for the maximal play. In real life, you're going to miss the optimal or the maximum play all the time. That's just fine. You look on film to see where your eye should be. When you escape the pocket clean like this, and you know you have a vertical route here, you know you have one, you need to check this route. Before you commit to running, you owe it to yourself to check this route downfield. What does it look like? Do I have it? It's a natural momentum-based throw. He chooses not to, and he picks up some yards, but not as many as Florida could have picked up. 4th and 3 here after a 3rd and 5 where Florida did not elect for a 2-downer. They were in a passing play. I respect that and appreciate that. There is a time to run if you have the numbers. So on 4th and 3, what is Florida going to give you? Well, if you guess they were going to give you double slants, you're right. You've watched this film review quite a bit. In most 4th down situations this season, Florida has preferred to go with a double slant concept. In fact, watching this game live with my friends, we had talked about this is going to be a double slant. Kentucky must know it. But pre-snap, this is a great and glorious look. Notice the leverage right now. Khalil Jackson is already lined up inside of the defender. There's tons of green grass over here. If I'm Mertz pre-snap and I know I got double slants on, I like both of these double slants. This is sort of what Florida wants right here. And they are going to get everything they want because they choose to double Ricky and literally leave Jackson wide open. Unfortunately, for some inexplicable reason, Mertz is not really checking any route right now. In fact, I can't even tell you what he's doing because you don't need to look at the safety here. The safety is irrelevant. You have double slants on. He cannot make a play unless he comes sprinting down the hill. You know on the start that you have 2x2. You're golden. Look at the leverage. Look at the release. I right here should go right here. Bam. He goes to the outside, stick the slant. Don't even think twice about it. But he's not. He's reading a safety here as if he's trying to go for some sort of bomb. And then once he reads the safety, he's going to snap down here to where he wants to go, but he has not ID'd what's happening, and they've walled this off. So here they've walled that off. That is not going to be there. And now he doesn't work back around to this throw where you have a wide open 1st down, and instead I'm going to run myself into trouble, right? This is not a strong man block here on Pass Pro by ETN, right? He does get his hands on him. Not a strong man block. He gets shoved off. But again, plenty of time here for 4th and 3. Immediately read this out. Safety's there, check, right? Bam, hit the slant right away. Forget the safety, hit the slant. Regardless, check the safety, hit the slant. Okay, fine. Now you're going to wait until it's way late over here. Well, now snap your eyes to here. Don't wind up and throw. Snap your eyes to here. Definitely don't do this. He does this, and we're dead on 4th and 3 with a wide open receiver. A play design that works here. Kentucky, again, I guess hasn't seen Florida's film with those double slants. But double slants, by the way, are a great route. Really solid route. Versus a lot of things, especially in short scenarios. No comment about that. Mertz is in trouble. He knows that, oh no, I've messed up. I had a wide open receiver. I got to do something here. Take the ball, ETN. You're our best playmaker. ETN says, I got you, bro. Don't worry. We'll pick up this 1st down. So Florida down 30-7 has new life after that play. Could have been much easier, but on this day for Florida, basically nothing was easy. Ricky's going to run a very long and slow route that eventually gets up to over here, but the real target on this play is going to be Webb right here, Florida's freshman Webb, and he is actually open. Right now, Mertz looks at him, and you can't see it on your screen, but that throw is there. That throw is there. It should be made. It's 1st and 10. He elects for some reason not to throw it. I really don't know why because it is there. You could say this guy's getting into his face in this throwing lane, but not really because this ball is going to be looped over. It's not going to be thrown right over his extended hand anyway, but a nice job here to reroute by George. Right, let's give credit where credit is due right here. Nice job here. Push him in, get control, lose control for a second, reroute around the edge. Mertz steps up, throws on the run to a now wide open Ricky. Very nice stuff. There's Webb. The reason he's wide open is he came down on this. So that actually worked out nice. He had the yards originally. By the time this happens, though, he comes down on it, leaving Ricky wide open. And then we get better than a check down to Webb. We get Ricky flying through the air for a touchdown. So we'll take that every single day of the week. Again, I would prefer Florida reads high to low. I'm showing you this play, one, because it's a touchdown, but two, because if we're going to run play action, which we run, I don't really know why our first read on 1st and 10 is low. Why is it low? I don't know. I mean, right now he's checking the safeties, but then he's immediately coming to the low player. I would prefer he checks the safety and then stays on the high player, right? Now, you might think he checked there, and it's not there. It's not true. Ricky's not even anywhere near there yet. You can see where Ricky is on your screen. Ricky's right here. By the time he snaps his head right there, Ricky's only gone 2 yards further. Ricky's not even a viable option yet. So I'd like to see him wait to hit that in the first place anyway. He doesn't, and it all works out for him with the scramble play. But again, I'd like to see a high to low read rather than a low to scramble high read. But we'll take it. Florida gets in the end zone. This play obviously gets reviewed to confirm he's in the end zone, but in the end zone he is, and there it is right there, flying through. Touchdown Gators. After a nice piece of quick game to pick up 6 yards on a pass on 1st down on 2nd and 4, we're going to motion Ricky over, which is going to bring, again, 7/ your 8th guy in the box watching Ricky. Here it comes, 7 guys coming downhill, and then right away, they're going to win this battle. Unblocked defender here coming in. Ricky, not a threat. You're not handing it to him. He's not holding for anything. Your quarterback is not a threat on the zone read. He's not worried about Mertz keeping it. We almost never do it. So you're just allowing the unblocked man to get all the way back into the backfield and to be able to make tackles. This is not a recipe for success. The box is already loaded. Your unblocked man does not respect your quarterback running. He's there. 2nd and 4 becomes a whole lot of nothing. 3rd and 2, and it's time for something we see almost every single game with Florida in the Napier era, which is going to be what I'm going to call, this is not cover 0, by the way, but by all accounts, it might as well be, because when you get this kind of man defense here on 3rd down and 2, press man, this safety right here is not going to ever do a thing about any route that you want to run outside of this hash. You can run a million different things. You can run a slant and go. I mean, you can start drawing them all up right on your own. I'll leave you to it. But there's a million choices for you on 3rd down and 2 where you still get a 4th down, by the way. You still get a 4th down. But they're going to put 10 guys basically in the box here. 10 guys all coming downhill. They're going to leave 1 back here. So now we know post-snap, right? We've got 8 guys in the box. But these guys' eyes are downhill as well. Instead, we could play action this ball. Imagine play action right here. All these guys are coming through. And now you've got Andy, Gina, and inside release running literally anything that you want to run, right? I mean, anything you want. You can run a post stop. You can run a corner stop. You can run a deep comeback. You can run a dig route. You can run a whip out. I mean, you can run 500 things you want based upon the fact that teams know you want to run the ball. Let's take advantage of that and make that happen. Instead, Florida's going to elect to just run the ball into the 8-man box, and they are not going to get it. They're almost going to get it, but they're not going to get it, and that brings up 4th down. Now, down 30-14, you're still in this football game. You're still in it. You can still drive and score. Florida elects to go with a gadget play of the Wildcat. We're going to bring a motion in. This is going to be a horrible call. A lot of you probably already seen this on social media, but you can see here, right here, right? He's crossing the neutral zone. He's already across. Here's the line. He's past the neutral zone. He's on our side of the line of scrimmage before Mazuka moves. Here he is before. Look, he's not across now. Mazuka's not moved, right? Not move, not move, not move. Now he starts moving. Okay, this is initiated by him. This is a bad call. This is wrong. That's affecting Florida because it should be an automatic 1st down for Florida. Instead, we lose 5 yards and then we elect to punt. So that ends the drive. Unfortunate call there. Should not have ended the drive. Bad call that goes against Florida. Down 30-14 at a very crucial time where they're still in the football game. With all that being said, if on 3rd down and 2 you're getting such good looks where you have a complete one-on-one play, you could probably do more, like spread the field out and take advantage of more one-on-one matchups. Instead, Florida elects to load the box, run a Wildcat where Kentucky elects to put 9 guys in the box. Would this have worked out for Florida? We'll never know. I just talked about on the previous play that if you could spread them out on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, you might get some options you like. Well, a simple option here in the empty set is now that the box is not loaded, 5-man box, because they have to cover this, right? They can't not cover this. Now they're staying too high here because they have a big lead. If they want to get more aggressive, they can bring this guy in the box, play single high, play man across the board, 3rd and 1, that's when you can start taking shots, right? That's what I'd love to see Florida do, is take the leverage of a play like this and put it to your advantage. Instead, now that we know we have a light box, right? We've got a 5-man offensive line here, light box. Kentucky's not ready. Let's just easily push our quarterback across for a first down. Significant benefit of not bunching everyone up in here and bringing every other player into the box. Let's let our offensive linemen work. 5v4, get an easy win, get a first down. Yes, Kentucky, of course, is willing to give you this in this situation. Doesn't matter. Take it. Make sure you set up a play that is easy for you to take it. All right, 1st and 10. Florida still fighting to be in this game. Pre-snap, here's your look. You're going to get Khalil Jackson running a shallow post corner. Very shallow. It will be across the first down. Andy Jean, of course, going to run a hitch here. Ricky's going to be out here. Now, this hitch is going to be wide open, but more importantly, pre-snap, this is a good look. You've got 3x2 over here, a lot of green grass, right? This is the field side, a lot of green grass. The boundary side over here, you have 3 players versus your 1 plus potentially a 4th. That does not look super great to me, but Mertz figures, hey, as long as I get anything on just him, Khalil's going to win the route. He does win the route, by the way, so that pre-snap read can be correct. You are going against the numbers, as it turns out. But Khalil does win. You have an underneath dropping defender here. To me, the easier throw is to work this 3x2 pre-snap. But what's wrong with what Mertz does here is everything is blocked up nicely. Mazuka is going to lose control of the inside trying to help. It's not really his fault. What happens here is George, again, the Alabama transfer here, loses control early on and does not get any kind of good reroute. That's not on Mazuka, who helps to double team here and then slide over. George has got to do his job and hold up there for a second. He does not. He's going to squeeze through. However, we're fine. Look, we're fine. Mertz looks here. If you don't like this throw now, Mertz, you got to slide this way, right? You have to slide this way. He does not. He actually runs into the lane of the lineman, which then takes a play that should be just fine. Back foot hits. If you're not going to let it fly right now, which he still could, he still has this throw. This guy's irrelevant. Throw the football. You can make that throw. It's there. He has it available. The window was open. He could have done it. He doesn't do it and then compounds his problem by not escaping out the backside. Just slide. Quick little slide here. You're not running around. You're just going to slide and then reset yourself right here where now we're back alive and you can snap your head around and hit this hitch. He does not do it. Out the backside. Big loss. 1st and 10 becomes 2nd and very long. Now, look, last year, people complained that it was AR's fault for not knowing the playbook well enough and being too young, and he was taking sacks or not taking sacks or running around. This year, Mertz, super high completion percentage. Mertz is a quarterback like anyone else. These guys have differences. They're not going to be perfect, right? But again, I think Florida's offense puts a ton of pressure on the quarterbacks when they have a chance to make a play. They don't get a lot of opportunities to make easy throws down the field. As we see, it's not easier for Florida's offense to pick up chunk yardage in the passing game, not last year or this year. As to whose fault that is, you can ascribe that on your own. But in this case, again, Mertz, as any other human quarterback, is going to make some mistakes. The game's happening fast when you're back there. I'm always cautious to say, just like with any quarterback, our job is to nitpick the film and show you what could have been done. The same thing Mertz is going to do for himself, right? This is constructive, not destructive. But Mertz is going to want that one back. He's going to want to move in the pocket correctly to extend the play. Oftentimes, he sometimes escapes the pocket a little too quickly. Understandable, given Florida's issues on the offensive line protecting. 4th and 4 now. This really is going to be primarily the end of the game for Florida. At this stage, they need to drive here and score with time remaining. If they do score, this could become a football game. Pre-snap motion, you're going to get a direct follow of the running back. Kentucky is telling you they are in man. Kentucky generally doesn't like to play man. This should be an advantage for an offense. They're going to play cover 1. Florida is something they have put on film now in the Napier era that really, I think, frustrates me especially, is that these routes do not help each other. Billy talks a lot about complementary football in the 3 phases. How about complementary routes, right? Not a single one of these routes is doing anything to really make it difficult on the defense. You could say this is going to be a rub route here, and if you were sending him on a wheel route, you'd have one. But as Florida is so content to do, we're just going to drop Montrell down here and cover himself 4th and 4 check down. Now, one more time, imagine that we just want to hit this. We know we're in man. You're the quarterback. You know now you're in man. Great. If you're in man, you know what you could do? This. Clear it all out. Montrell to the edge. This is ETN for sure, right? We saw Dan Mullen beat Georgia that way single-handedly. But more importantly, this is a good matchup here for you. That's nice. You could also do this. Clear out. Let's get in his way. Little run a slant, get in his way in a rub route, right? Look, like he does kind of here. Send him out the back door. Easy money. If the corner jumps, touchdown over his head. 2-on-1 this guy. There's so many things you can do here to help. But as Florida does in the Billy Napier era, we're just going to run some routes. Got a drag route here, got a drag route here, got a little clear out route here. That's it. We're just running routes. These routes are not helping each other. They're not getting in the way. We know we have man. There's no traffic. There's no rub. There's nothing that makes this difficult. We cover ourselves right here. And now Mertz takes the only throw he really has, which is the throw that is run short of the sticks. Of course, Arliss, being a young guy, needs to make sure he runs this route deep enough that he's across the sticks. He does not do that. And Florida does not convert on 4th and 4. Yet another option, again, of Florida's passing offense, just not getting it done. Essentially, Florida football right now on offense, especially with the passing game, is playing on hard mode, and they're doing it to themselves. 4th and 2, fourth quarter. The game is already over, but this tells you a lot about Kentucky's mindset right here. They still say, you know what? We're going to keep 7 guys in the box. Single eye safety here, and we're going to play a 3-on-3. We saw this earlier. I mentioned a similar concept. We're going to play a straight up 3-on-3 on 4th and 2. You can do whatever you want. This safety, his eyes are over here, right? Look, on hike. He's not even worried about what's happening here. Now, eventually, if we play action fake that, he can move around. He can come over here and try to assist, but we have a whole lot of field to work with here, 3-on-3, to the field side. We're 3-on-3 to the field side. We have the entire field over here. It's a million different routes you could run on 4th and 2. 7-man box. 8 guys here. What does Florida like to do? Of course, if you guessed, they're going to try to just go ahead and run this ball right up the middle with an inside zone. You're correct. This is not Kingsley. It's Slaughter, the redshirt sophomore. Slaughter is not going to win this battle, as we've seen a guy who's popped on film all day long. Big number 0, just murdered basically anybody he lined up in front of on the Gators offensive line. And he does so here with Slaughter. He says, get 3 or 4 yards back in the backfield. Run into your split zone. In Arliss, we talked earlier about how in the defensive video you need to break up guard tackle counters or tight end counters or guard counters or whatever kind of counter you want to bring by getting penetration in the backfield, which blows up the lead blocker coming around. And that's one way to do it, right? You create this traffic. 0 pretty much single-handedly ends this play by himself. And we are stopped, and that will officially end the game and send Florida to 1-7 on the road under Billy Napier. It was an ugly look, a bad loss. No need to belabor the point. Of course, if you've been watching this film review, you know that our opinion as of the first game of this season, given all the data that we've seen, is that Billy would be very wise to remove himself from the offense and hire an OC. Preferably one, of course, that I think fits Florida's brand image as a school that likes to pass the ball and likes to be aggressive. Florida, I just don't think, is ever going to do well with a coordinator who wants to run ball control style offense. A lot of running, a lot of against the grain, if you will, what I like to call kind of outdated football philosophies. Not that Billy's not using things that aren't modern in some ways, not that he's using some plays that aren't modern or some formations that are modern, but the mentality of how Florida chooses to go up against the numbers, of how they choose to run and pass, when they choose to run and pass, how they choose to attempt to gain yards, what they choose to do in situations where they could gain chunk yards, I think is outdated. That's the portion we talk about in this podcast about being outdated. Modern football largely seeks to punish those looks maximally when you get them. Regardless, no matter how you view Florida's offense, the production has got to get better if Florida wants to regain a position in the top 25, and if it certainly wants to one day compete for championships. You cannot be putting what Florida's putting on film on offense week in and week out and expect to get there. So a challenge is ahead for Florida's offense. Things have to change in one way or another. Certainly this year is going to be a slog, as we all knew. Next year, maybe you start to get some upside. And if you get a year 4, if you're Billy Napier, that's the year I think most people would circle. But along the way, you've got to see progress and improvement, right? That's what we're all looking for. You got to see something to hang your hat on and say, okay, we're trying to run the optimal play. We're not connecting. We're trying to do its best. It's not working. Right now on offense, Florida raising a lot of questions about the future of where this offense goes for a variety of reasons. All right, with that, I'll put this film review to bed. I certainly hoped that you enjoyed it. As always, the opinions are my own. You can certainly disagree. There's plenty of other content out there to watch and consume. I hope you enjoy this one, whether you agree or disagree with what is said on the takes, and I certainly hope you enjoy watching the film. My goal here is really to just bring you a chance to watch football through perhaps a different lens, give you a chance to kind of look at what might be going on behind the scenes, if you will, with each play, and then hopefully make you a better football fan. As always, I'm James from the Gator Nation Football Podcast Film Review. I look forward to being with you next week after the Vanderbilt game. Until then, go Gators.